It's time to take a T&O with coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a T&O with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a T&O with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 19 of Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill. We are at home again. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and as always, I am joined by coaches Steve Turner and Coach Casey O'Neill. Our engineer, she's right there. She's DJ Krissy, and together we each welcome you to Episode 19. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray is a friend of the program, and he is the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill. Ray Cruz is mortgage intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week we bring you T&O The Home Edition. Gentlemen and lady, thank you for accommodating my late schedule. I was at a WCAC game today where I was behind the mic, and it went a little longer than normal because there was a lot of scoring in that game, so the innings were a little bit long. But thank you for accommodating me. After a busy week in our lives, and most certainly in the sports world, we are going to get to a bunch of content today. But first, gentlemen, I think we started with Coach Turner last week because he was in Miami the week before. You know what? Krissy, how was your weekend? I'm going to start with you first.
I'm first. When does that ever happen?
Yes. Krissy, how was the week?
It was a good week. Happy to be back with the guys. I mean, home edition.
Yes.
Everybody can be comfy. I love it. It was a good week. Like I said, the cicadas, a little bit crazy. I had to bring it up. Sorry.
The cicadas.
They're fun though.
Okay. All right.
They are fun.
Right? I'm not the only one that thinks they're interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Steve's just shaking his head at me right now.
I haven't had many on my block yet, or in my cul-de-sac.
When I walked into the studio, they're all over the grass right now.
Everywhere. It's not fun when a 4-month-old puppy thinks they're like dog treats, and just chomps them up. So we got to monitor that. But anyway,
hey.
Other than that, we're good.
Dog treats.
Coach Casey O'Neill, how was the weekend? How was your week since we were last together, sir?
Oh, man. Well, no apologies necessary from you because you are doing what you love, calling games, being outside. We are back to somewhat of this sense of normalcy. So whether we're at home or in the studio, I'm blessed because, late practice, I get home. Exciting news. My boy is home from college for the summer. He starts his summer job tomorrow. He got vaccinated today. The girls are playing soccer and camps are lining up. And we got a little win streak going for the Eagles and a big week ahead. So I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. And like Krissy, I'm kind of interested in those cicadas. I did pick up a few, just remembering what it was like 17 years ago.
Oh, boy.
And, let them fly. And all of a sudden, Sammy, our 4-month-old puppy, just jump right on him. And dog treats, baby.
All right. Coach Turner, talk to me, brother. How's it going?
Going great. Good weekend. Casual, relaxing opportunity to watch the young fella play a little hoops.
Good.
Couple scrimmages, some pickup ball with some former Purple Eagles, which was cool to see some of my guys who graduated home back in town and in the gym trying to help the young boys grow up a little bit. And then excited to be back with you guys. Mental Health Monday, of course.
Of course.
And a lot of buzz going on in the DMV, but I think we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
We sure are.
And excited for we start our first summer league trials tomorrow for varsity basketball. So
excellent. Well,
hoops starting to move into the right direction. Live periods coming up here in June for these kids to be able to get their first time to be seen by the college coaches. So I'm excited right now. I'm definitely excited right now.
Well, please tell your Purple Eagle who resides with you that the T&O crew is going to be interested in how his exams go, because we know he's shooting for straight A's. So our fingers are crossed, but we don't need to cross our fingers. It's him who has to put in the work. I know he is and he will, but we're going to be watching him. We're going to be watching him and watch those offers too. We're going to be watching those offers too. All right. All right. Last week, John Harks joined the podcast, the world traveled scholarship soccer player at UVA. The pro guy, the international player, and of course, the highly successful soccer coach was with us, and we were able to extract yet again a bunch of similarities that Harks shares with our other successful guests, players and coaches. Listen or watch episode 18 on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast content. I say episode 18, but through 2 seasons, gentlemen and Krissy, I want to thank all of you guys for being a part of this crew. We're on episode 44 after 2 seasons. So let's start. Yeah. So I didn't think about that. That's Rigo, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. The diesel.
Are we talking Mohawk Rigo or 4th and 1, blue chip or 60 chip or whatever?
Whichever one we want. I prefer Mohawk Rigo because during the pandemic, I had a nice Mohawk going. So that's the one I like.
We're talking Rigo who would peel off 30, 40 yards and come right back to the oxygen, right? That's exactly what he did. Look, let's hit our first break and we'll be back with this week's headline. Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program: Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe. Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to 4 of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com. One Headline is brought to you by Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by their world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between their physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, they create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. For the young athlete, Healthy Baller is an excellent training and confidence builder. Paula and I personally know this, as our children attend Healthy Baller twice each week. With Blair and Molly training our 12 and 10-year-olds, we can personally vouch for their expert training and dedication to each athlete. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com and tell them Kurtis and Paula sent you.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Gentlemen, does Tom Wilson pay rent to be in the penalty box? He is always in the penalty box. Someone talk to me about Tom Wilson, please.
I mean, he does. He just plays that physical style. He likes to agitate. He likes to, get a lot of checks against the boards. He's not afraid to drop the gloves. And oh, by the way, he's 6'4", 225 pounds of just pure muscle. So he gets after it. But sometimes he's got to. People don't realize how skilled he is. I mean, he's a top forward who could score 20 goals and have 20 assists. And so, yeah, he's in there. I just turned around and there's already a party in both penalty boxes. This game has
right, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I just saw some dude and the referee is trying to separate him, but he's still hitting somebody with the stick. I mean, you guys love the Caps like to get it in. I say you guys because you're a Caps fan. You guys get it in, huh?
Hey, game one, there was 20 total hits, right? Like real physical hits.
Right,
First period alone in this game, too, there was 19 already. So they are physical.
Come on.
Physical.
Well, let's get to this week's headline. Here they go. Is this a replay or what? Never mind. Let's get to this week's headline. One of DMV's finest. Mike Jones, head coach of DeMatha Catholic, has accepted a position as the top assistant at Virginia Tech. Coach Turner, this is one of your comrades. You've had some excellent battles against him. You are on the same side in terms of trying to take these young men and prepare them for life. You're on the same side with USA Basketball. I've been to some of your clashes before. This is one of your colleagues. He's going on to Virginia Tech. Your thoughts, sir?
Immediately, going to be missed. There's no doubt, and I've told him this, and I put it out on the Twitter world for people to see. I definitely have become a better coach every year because of my ability and the opportunities I've had to go head-to-head in clash with him. As we both like to say, iron sharpens iron, and being able to go against a first-class guy like him and him in the DeMatha program year in, year out, most years 3 times, sometimes 4 times, has certainly helped me make the men on Ice Creek better because he's helped me become better. And certainly, I told you guys before on our podcast, him being one of those guys when I first took the job that reached back, didn't have to. Arch rival probably would want to see us in the cellar if he could, just because of the rivalry, but not certainly. I think he's made the friendship bigger than the rivalry, and I certainly appreciate him for that, and feel like I've reciprocated the same thing. But for him and his family, excited for a new opportunity for him. And again, I'll just miss those battles. It's going to be tough not seeing him on that other sideline when we match up with them this year. But it'll be different. Hopefully he'll be in my gym recruiting my guys, and hopefully he'll have a chance to come up with some guys that he didn't get through the tenure and see if he can make them Hokies down there with him at B-Tech.
You know, Steve, you say things that I keep with you. I'm going to keep that one with me. He made the friendship bigger than the rivalry. I love hearing you say that. Coach O'Neill, you know this guy through and through. You're the assistant AD as well as the lacrosse coach down there at Gonzaga. You've come across Mike dozens and dozens of times. You've been in gyms when him and Steve have coached against each other. What do you know about this guy that we had? We can say we had him here, right, on the podcast, but Your thoughts. He's going to Vatech.
Yeah, of course. Another former great guest we had here on the podcast. I love his opening line. Took you guys about damn time to get me on the show. And that's Mike.
He said he didn't want to be first, but he figured one of the first few.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Here's the blessings that we did get him when we did. Because now we can't get him anymore. Someone texted me today saying, "Man, now you need to get him back on." I said, "Can't do it. He's a college coach."
don't get me started on the NCAA and their policies and things. I mean, we could have a whole episode on that, what they're doing right now in the college playoffs and things like that. But back to that comment about Mike. I mean, that's what Kurtis, you asked me, is what I appreciate about him. I always liked his style on game day. I always liked his, not dress style, but just his approach and the way he coached his guys, his banter with Steve and both these two great coaches and educators of young men, the banter between them and the competitiveness. I look for him, just like Coach Turner, taking over for a legend, doing it his way, but also with, his style and keeping that DeMatha brand going, which pains me to say that as an Eagle, but that's how we develop rivalries and respect. And so I wish him the best. I'll be honest, I don't think there's any coach in the country that doesn't look and say, oh, would the grass be greener at college, or would the grass be greener here and doing that? And he did his thing at DeMatha, had a very successful career, and this is probably obviously the right time for him to make a jump and a move. And, and not too far away down in Blacksburg and in the ACC. So how good for him. And, just again, like Steve, it's going to be weird not to see him on that sideline next winter. But I look forward to just kind of, mixing it up with him when he comes to recruit the Eagles on I Street.
How about that?
I'd say the other thing, Kurtis, that I didn't mention earlier is that he's paving the way for a lot of folks. I've been saying for the last 5 years, when would someone think outside the box? There are a lot of great high school head coaches that I get to coach against nationally. Even more so just in my own conference, that I think could make that jump and be really good at it, or in a couple roles. One, as a top assistant, as Mike is going to do, or even maybe at a smaller school where they could continue to blow their own whistle and be a head coach. I have to say, along with, being a big congrats to Mike, but hats off to Coach Young for thinking outside the box and realizing that there's some great coaches at the high school level, Mike being one of them, and finding a way to kind of take him away from us, but put him in another place where he can continue to grow this game as he has done at the high school level through USA basketball. And I'm happy that he's paving a new way for a lot of guys like him, like me.
And if I could just add to that, I mean, that makes perfect sense, because when you think outside the box and you actually get these high school coaches who in the DMV area, we arguably have the best conference in the country, if not the best conference. And not just in the WCAC, but the surrounding publics and other private school conferences. And he has great relationships with those coaches and everything. So, getting inside and understanding what the high school basketball is like and the type of kids you want to recruit and the families. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And Steve, you're right. I really think that's going to open up some other doors. And we certainly got great coaches in this area, and not just for basketball, but in lacrosse and in football. All the different sports, even rugby and swimming. And so good for him. It's a great headline, and God bless him and his family.
Casey, when you say that, I believe that, people think of the WCAC and they think of basketball, but as you said, football and lacrosse, and there's some great coaches. I mean, I'm not trying to take you away from I Street, but both of you guys are great coaches who could move on to other places and do some great things. I don't think the success stops on I Street. I think you have brought the success to I Street. And Steve, for example, if you were to move on, or Casey, if you were to move on, you're probably prepping the coaches under you to be just as successful as well. So let's not stop it with basketball, lacrosse, baseball, rugby, football. I mean, goodness gracious, from Bishop McNamara to good counsel.
Curtis, I think that's the one sport you do see it happening a lot with, though, is the football coaches. We've seen some really good football coaches here in the DMV have opportunities to move on and coach at the next level. And some guys, that at the level above really, really thought highly of and have brought them on. And so it's just neat to see it happening for me in my sport.
Well, God bless him. Congratulations, Mike Jones. He was a season 1 guest. I think he was Coach Talk Part 1. Him and I think Horsey were on that episode together for Coach Talk Part 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your one headline.
Gene the Barber has been in the business of making you look good for more than 20 years. Kids cuts, adult cuts, men and women, Gene has the experience and style you're looking for. Contact Gene the Barber for an appointment by calling him direct, 240-687-7253. Our producer uses Gene the Barber and he's available for your next barbershop visit as well. Call 240-687-7253 and tell him Turner and O'Neill sent you.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your style seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
The Starting Five is brought to you by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar or bat mitzvah, office party, Sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any virtual event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. The Starting Five. Welcome back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. I am your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner, Coach Casey O'Neill. And of course, our engineer is that young lady over there, DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly Starting Five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions before, and they each have 30 seconds to answer their questions. They can differ once per Starting Five, but if go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? All right, gentlemen, let's do it. The Starting Five. All right, Coach O'Neill, pick your field sport. Are you going to play it on turf or grass?
I'm going to play on grass.
Coach Turner, turf or grass?
What sport for you, Casey?
Well, the question, it said grass or turf.
Well, it does say
right?
pick your field sport. In my mind, it was whatever sport you want, but what sport is it going to be?
So field sport like in track and field type of thing, or just any sport?
Any sport played on the green, the carpet, or the turf.
Oh,
or the
man,
grass?
I'm going to play a mean game of like just old man softball and just be in center field and run everything down and then pull my hamstring.
All right.
On turf or grass?
On grass. I said grass, so I'm going to go either baseball or softball because, you know, I played lacrosse and football.
Ding,
soccer.
ding, ding.
Yeah, man. There's nothing like going out there, you know, running out with your guys out there to get to, you know, out there in the 9, out in the field.
To be fair, he finished his answer, and then you gave him a follow-up.
I didn't give him a follow-up. He didn't listen to the whole question.
And when I play that old man softball, it only takes like 2 innings. So I'm like, all right, we're down by 10 runs. I'm done.
Well, somebody was down by 10 runs today, and I was calling that game. It ended up 21-zip.
Moving on.
Coach Turner, turf or grass? What's your sport?
Oh, I'm going back to my playing days, soccer, and we're going on the Bermuda green grass.
My man. Can I just tell you something? I was at a field day at a certain child of mine's school, and we played tug of war, and I did fall, and I've never had turf burn until that day, and I'll never forget it.
Was it on grass or on the field turf?
It was on turf, buddy.
There was nothing like in soccer playing on like a really good grass field that's like pristine,
right?
And you can wear your spikes, like
nothing like it, huh?
Well, let's go back to the fall and tug of war. It sound like you lost? Did you get tugged down?
Hey man, this is the starting five. My questions to you, not your questions to me. Coach Turner, do you leave a message or just let them see the missed call and they'll call you back when you call someone's cell?
I know the answer to this one.
It depends on the situation.
Oh, okay. It depends on the situation. So just there
are certain people that I know I don't need to leave a message for, and they will call me back. So I do that. And then there are some people that I got to leave a message. So it's two ways.
You calling your brother Nick because you're planning Mother's Day for your mom. Are you leaving a message for Nick?
I'm leaving a message. My brother's not great at calling people back. Okay. So I'm leaving him a long message.
Coach O'Neal.
If I call one of my coaches,
right.
Normally I don't have to leave a message. They'll know to call me back.
Okay. All right. Coach O'Neal, are they calling you back based off the missed call, or are you going to have to leave a message?
I'm not leaving a message. I'm just calling, and then boom, I hear the recording, hang up, just wait. And then if I don't hear, I text, and then I call back again. So that's how I'm rolling. But Coach Turner always leaves me messages. Every time I see it, I see missed call, boom, message. I like that about you, Steve. You're old school. Casey, hit me back. Take a second. Casey, call me.
I'll leave you a quick one.
All right. Coach O'Neal, who in your home, and that could be including Cole, is most likely to survive 48 hours in the wilderness? You included.
Ooh, baby. I'm going to go with, well, clearly I think it's me, but I'm going to go with my youngest, Claire. That girl is so creative. She can build so many things. She's 6 years old. You know, she will find a way to put together a little stick house. She'll love doing it. She'll then pick up cicadas and then build a little fire and cook the cicadas and do that. And it's going to be my daughter, Claire, man. 100%.
So she's resourceful, huh?
Very resourceful.
All right, Coach Turner, who in your house, Christian and Jared included, can survive 48 hours in the wilderness?
Neither one of them will survive 48 hours.
Leah is.
I could do it, but I'm rocking with Leah. She's the outdoor head. She did the
okay.
What was that thing you could do back in the day in high school?
The confidence course?
Outward Bound.
Outward Bound. There you go, Casey.
Okay.
There you go. She did the Outward Bound. She lasted a week out there, came back all bit up and all kind of scars and mosquito bites all over, but she could rock it. No problem.
How about in the Cross family?
Oh, Paula.
I knew that. I knew that answer.
That's one answer only. That's Paula. You ain't got to worry about nothing. That's Paula. Me and Chelsea ain't gonna make it. I
bet Krissy would make it too. Easy.
Oh yeah, Krissy will make it. Yeah.
She's hiking and grabbing snakes and doing all kinds of good stuff.
She's good. Coach Turner, favorite hobby?
Ooh, I mean, I tell you all, there's two that I love.
Oh, give me two.
But I mean, I'd say playing golf is number two. Okay. But give me a boat, water, and a fishing pole, and a nice cooler with some good things in it. I'm good all day long. That's my hobby. I love to fish. So sun up, I'll see you for dinner, maybe? Maybe. Like we go to Outer Banks, I will get up earlier than everybody and surf fish early in the morning. Then I'll wait till late at night when everybody goes back up to the beach and surf fish again. I usually catch some things down there in good old North Carolina. All right. But Coach O'Neal.
I definitely golf. I mean, I love getting up and getting after it, whether I'm playing with Cole or whether I'm walking with some of my boys. It's got to be golf. But I'm with Steve too. I'm not a huge on the boat fish guy, but down on the Eastern Shore off a dock or just anywhere with the girls, the bloodworms, and catching some perch or whatever it is. That is one of my favorite things to do. But golf, like hands down, is my favorite. All right, Coach Turner, I'm going with you first. 5 things, rapid fire. Are you a backseat driver?
Hell yes.
All right, top 3 international basketball players of all time.
Ginobili, Parker, and I can't think of his name right now. The big Russian played in
Arvydas, baby.
Arvydas, yes. There
I
you go.
Waiting for you to say Arvydas Sabonis.
And my close fourth, God rest his soul, Petrovic.
Yes. Did you know Arvidas' son, he's only the fourth guy to get 20, 10, and 7? He got that.
He's a bad boy. Gonzaga. Out of Gonzaga. Spokane.
He's a bad boy. An achievement that you're still pursuing. Whatever it could be, like the hole-in-one in golf or, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be sports.
I'm definitely trying to get that one, but that's not the one. And just getting my son off to college.
Okay. All right. Where would you volunteer if time allowed? Or what is your favorite charity? Somewhere in there. Where would you spend your good time?
I used to do a lot of it, and I probably need to get back to it. Big Brother.
Okay. All right. Your favorite DMV specific thing that's like conducive to the DMV.
It's 2. There you go. He hit 1. But the first one is go-go. Right. Second is chicken and mambo sauce.
You know what? I felt like that could be your answer. I'm like, no, Steve's going to say something else.
Cool, man. Go-go.
So it's the same for both of us.
Being in school in Connecticut, and you're up there with a lot of New Yorkers who are all hardcore rap guys.
Yep.
I would crank go-go out my window in my dorm room, and they hated me. But then I got a lot of guys that started loving it because they started stealing my good PA tapes.
The good PA tapes. Coach O'Neal, you are on the clock now. Guinness Book of World Records. What record did you break? Tell me what it would be if you were in there.
Oh, man. I would break.
And timeout. I'm going to give you a little more time. Credit to Krissy. She helped me with the starting 5 this week. So some of these are hers.
I like them.
Guinness Book. Trying to play as much golf as I can in 24 hours in the Guinness Book. But that's not going to happen. So,
the player you would like to have coached?
Oh, baby.
Anybody?
You know what? Guess we had. I love that young man we had 2 weeks ago, Joe Robertson. But I got an opportunity to coach him.
Okay.
So I think it would have been fun back in the day to coach Paul Rabel. I think he would have been so much fun back then. And he actually did. He was a counselor at our camp way back when at Gonzaga's lacrosse camp. And he was just. I don't even know if he was at DeMatha yet, but he was helping us out.
Okay. One thing you would do differently on your wedding day. I know for Paula, it would be to have a videographer. We did not have a videographer. Some friends videotape some stuff. That's the one thing she would do differently.
We had all those. We had all those things. I wish
that DJ Kurtis Cross was your DJ. I know.
Yes, that's it. I wish it was because our DJ. We had some issues that night, and the dancing wasn't as long as I personally wanted to be. It kind of cut out too quick because we were kind of moving from room to room. So definitely the DJ.
All right. Go ahead. Please jump in, Steve.
A different photographer. Even though I got a lot of pictures because every person that took pictures at our thing gave us either their film or their photos they took. But I was not happy with our photographer.
All right. Coach O'Neal, name something you will not pinch pennies on.
Ooh. Probably a good alcoholic drink.
All right.
I'm gonna spend the money.
All right.
Sorry to all the kids that are watching. Go ahead.
Day trip with Erica. Where are you headed? You have to pick it. It's got to be a day trip, so you got to be able to go and come back in the same day.
It's got to be somewhere by the water, probably the beach, even though that's 2.5 hours away. We will get up. We will go down there, hang out.
That's a day trip, yeah.
Enjoy our day, and boom, we are back, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neal Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neal, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerandoneal.com.
Be sure to listen now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Google Podcasts. Download the app and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode of Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neal.
Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You'll find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
This segment of Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill. Welcome back. It's Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill, the home edition, with DJ Krissy and me in the studio and coaches Casey, O'Neill, and Coach Turner at home. We thank you for joining us this and every week. Let's jump into our next segment now with, well, it occupied my TV this weekend, and I know you two gentlemen were locked in as well. The NCAA D1 Lacrosse Tourney. Winners this past weekend who will go on to play this coming weekend include the following matchups: Carolina and Rutgers, Georgetown versus UVA, University of Maryland Terrapins versus Notre Dame, and Loyola of Maryland versus Duke. Coach O'Neill, any surprises for you this weekend?
So first and foremost, it was let's rewind back to last summer when we started this 44 episodes ago, and we started talking about the PLL and having guys like Kyle Harrison and Tom Schreiber coming on the episode. And then here we are getting you watching the PLL, and now you're seeing the beauty of the sport. It's kind of like Steve's thing with NCAA, the March Madness. The May Madness in college lacrosse I think is the most polarizing event. Look, you got your bracket right there. You ready?
May Madness, that's right.
Go. You know, the way it played out this past weekend, of course, I'm watching not only the 1, the 2, and the 3 because we had, Gonzaga Eagles representing us at every level. But in Division I, two of our guys, one at High Point, they obviously went down to Duke. And then we had another young man who's playing up at Vermont, and they lost to the Terps. I think the tournament shaped out exactly the way that most thought it would, with the exception of a toss-up. And that was the nightcap last night, Loyola and Denver. And if you watch that game, you came down to the last second, and poor young man who had a one-on-one with the goalie as time expired, and the goalie made an unbelievable save to close that out for Loyola. And let's not forget how Loyola even got in with an at-large bid. A week ago on Saturday, they were sitting in a hotel room getting ready for the Patriot League Championship against Lehigh, going in there to try to get that automatic bid. And their coach had to go in there and tell those boys, we're not playing. There's positive tests. We got to go home, retest. And boom, they get the at-large bid. They go out, they fly out to Denver, have to test, and they have an experience like that. And that's what makes these games so incredible. I think there was a couple scares. I think Notre Dame was a little nervous with Drexel. And then obviously you have that Bryant team who was giving UVA all it could handle. And then everything else kind of shaped up. What's that?
Gave them the business, didn't they?
It gave them the business. But you know what? I as a coach, I always believe you need to be tested, especially in those playoff games or down the road. Not saying losses are good, but some of them can be good, or those tight games so that your team can kind of lock in, not take anybody for granted, and then kind of getting through those tight situations. So here coming up in the quarterfinals with these matchups, they've been there. They've done that. It doesn't matter if it's a lesser opponent or not. And it also shows you're hearing schools like Bryant and Drexel and High Point that most people that know lacrosse don't really think about. And they've got players that can step up to a UVA guy, a Notre Dame guy, a Duke guy, and just say, man, I put my pants on the same way you do, and let's go after this 50-50 ground ball. So I can't wait for this. If you thought last weekend was good, wait till you see the quarterfinals coming up this weekend.
You mentioned something about, the losses are not necessarily good, but to, get your focus back and, tune you back up. And I think Robert said something about that, Mr. Clutch. They lost to UNC, and they said, this has got to be our focus now. We got to move in this direction. And sometimes you need that humbling, sobering moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we asked Joe Robertson that on the episode. I mean, that we recorded that 2 days after they had just lost to Carolina. They had beat them once in overtime, and then they had lost that game. And it's almost like you get that out of the way then, right? I mean, they knew they were going to be a top 4 seed going into this tournament, and now you're as locked in as ever. I mean, we ourselves had a tough loss about 2 weeks ago. We've had this crazy off season and a weird season to begin with. But, man, that next day, our next practice after we lost.
How good was it?
Over the 15 years as a head coach, some of the best practices we've ever had, and Steve would probably say the same thing, are after a loss. I mean, guys are battling. They're battling for positions, crack the starting lineup. We know we're as good as our last game, and they want to make the next game as good as possible. So sometimes people can handle adversity and hold their head down and sit there and say, oh, man, what was me, or complain. Or they can get after it. And you saw Duke do that. I mean, they did not mess around with High Point. And you've seen programs doing this. Now, the scare is, on the other end of that, Maryland's been unblemished so far. Right. And they're going up and not happy with the seeding that they – think about this for a second. Maryland is a number 3 seed overall. Number 1 is Carolina, then it's Duke, then it's Maryland. Maryland ran the table in the Big Ten. They've got to play one of the best teams in the country in a 6 seed at Notre Dame. At Notre Dame, right? They've got to go to South Bend for that regional, and it's not in the Maryland area or the New England area. So, we'll see what the Terps are made of coming up here going against the Irish, and that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes.
Coach Turner, what are you expecting out of these final 8 teams? I know the big dogs are still dancing, but did this past weekend make you change your mind about any team in particular? What did you see?
No, I mean, I picked 6 of the 8 winners, and I would have been 8 for 8, but at the last minute I decided to make some changes. Change
your mind, man.
Went with Syracuse over Georgetown, and I was really feeling Loyola because of their whole situation, and I should have just stuck with it.
Right.
But I decided to go with the higher seed because I had some upsets in some other areas. Sometimes you're like, man, I don't know if I can pick this many upsets. Or
exactly.
what would be perceived to be upsets? Because I think you got some unbelievable teams that even at the lower seeds could knock off some of these guys, especially in a year like this year. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see that Carolina-Rutgers game. Because Rutgers has been the talk of the town, I think, all year long. Their grittiness and their toughness to find ways to win games. That Maryland-Notre Dame game, not just because it's in South Bend, but because I just always liked Notre Dame's defense. I think they get after it. They make some winning plays for their offense and taking care of their keeper. That game could be a little tougher, especially playing it in South Bend. I like Virginia and Duke to pretty much just roll right into the Final Four. So I think the 1 seed and the 3 seed probably have the tougher games going into that, coming out of the Elite 8 to get to the Final Four. What I did enjoy this week. Hold on, Coach. Real quick. What I did enjoy this week was lacrosse got me excited to get back into basketball. Watching the defensive plays, watching the footwork of these guys, watching the ball move. I tell you, so much of watching that game just reminds me of basketball that it got my juices flowing, and I'm excited about tomorrow night just to be able to get in the gym and work with my guys again.
See, that's the beauty right there, and to see some fans, seeing some more fans come in there, and I completely punted on my last sort of statements too about not giving a shout out to the Georgetown Hoyas. I mean, they literally beat the pants off of Syracuse, who outside of maybe Maryland or Hopkins, I mean, is considered the mecca of lacrosse, and beat them down. And what they've done up there on the hilltop is second to none. They've done it with recruiting all over the country and recruiting really well here in the DMV. A coach that is a blue collar, old school style, and just 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, the program was struggling a little bit, and for them to kind of stay tight, stay the course, believe in him, and to do what they did is unbelievable. I'm going to counter with you with that UVA Georgetown game. I think Georgetown is going to take it to the Hoos. I just think they're playing with such fire. They've got a local kid in TJ Haley. Shout out to St. John's. Young man who's leading the nation as a freshman is in assists. He had something like 73 assists and didn't even play a full schedule this year. They are so stacked and have so much going for them and have so much fun with the game. Steve, I'm going to counter that. I think Georgetown is getting themselves back to the Final Four in the first time in like 20 years.
You can be right. I'll tell you the other thing I liked about some of the commentary that I heard was the great words they spoke about John Tillman. And in case you would know this, is that his ability to adapt to his players. He is not the guy who just stays with, this is my style, this is what I do. He really has done an unbelievable job since he's been in Maryland in figuring out every year how to play with his personnel and playing to the personnel. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many kids like to play for him, because he seems to be a really good, what we would call a player's coach.
Right.
And so listening to the commentators talk about that and kind of going through his years of success and how he's done it, how those teams played a little different than each one was pretty cool to listen to.
So when I'm watching UVA Bryant, I am pulling for the underdog because I didn't expect Bryant to do as well as they did. But Coach O'Neill, Coach Turner, whichever one of you want to speak on this, it seemed as if, and I know it sounds cliche, but UVA flipped a switch. And I guess you had gone on to practice, Coach O'Neill. You didn't catch the end of it. But it was like 2-3 goals in like 2 or 3 minutes. They just turned it on and they found it. And it was just their game after that. I mean, it was pretty much, I think I was watching with Adam and I'm like, well, that pretty much does it, Adam. So what is it about that UVA team? Of course, you've got me watching. I'm loving watching, but I'm not as engrossed as you are. So tell me what does UVA have? What's that sixth sense they have that allows them to do that?
Well, I mean, they've got all Americans at every position, but what they honestly have is, they've got a pretty calm coach in Lars Tiffany down there. But what I think most notably is there's a huge number of guys in that roster that won the most recent national championship, which was 2 years ago, right? Because you didn't have one before that. And those guys were sophomores or freshmen and now they're redshirting and they've got that extra year. They've been there, done that. And when they made that run years ago, they can kind of go back to that. They had to win some crazy games to get to that Final Four and then to eventually pull it off. And so I think right there, look, Bryant makes any little mistake in the fourth quarter, like a turnover and a pass or misses a 50-50 GB or just doesn't get the shot selection they need. UVA is going to pounce on that. And those kids have been there and done that. And I just think they got a great coaching staff who's been there. And that experience really helps. One shout out to Bryant. Bryant's got a great coach, Mike Pressler, who was at Duke years ago, and he went up to Bryant and has built something nice. They've been conference champions. And again, it's the recruiting battle. You got to get those kids that are those blue chippers and stuff, but he gets blue collar kids that can punch you back in the mouth and fight and play his style.
Talk to me. Non-COVID, are we still doing 16 teams? Is that always the way it is?
It's been 16 for the last probably decade, actually more than that. The last 8 years, they had 2 play-in games. So it was somewhere around 20, and then they'd come in to play the top seeds. So you didn't have the Ivy League champion this year, and there was a couple other conferences where you didn't have people come in. Ivy's didn't even play, so we're not even talking about Princeton or Yale or Harvard,
Brown,
or UPenn or Brown. Geez, and Brown. I mean, those teams alone are stacked and loaded, but whole nother conversation. I mean, watch Denver yesterday. 2 of their top players, the faceoff kid, TD Erline, was Yale's top player and top faceoff guy, and this kid Jackson Morrell, who won a national championship at Yale 3 years ago, back in 2017 or 2018, whenever it was. So a lot of those Ivy kids left. You're seeing it with Michael Sowers, Duke's top player, who Joe Robertson is just feeding the ball to, or vice versa. He was Princeton's, one of the Tewaaraton guys, which I think we're going to talk about in a minute. So we don't even have those guys in this thing.
Coach Turner, did you want to say something?
I was going to say just, your reference to turning it on and clicking all going on all cylinders at the right time. I think for me, like watching the sport and becoming such a fan of the sport, that's the sexy part of this game. Like it at any moment, like those teams can just pour on goals. And then when they're just passing that thing around and whipping it around and ripping the net, like it's just fun to watch. So I'm glad we got you tuned in to some Lax now, and you're getting to see a little bit of what I think both myself and Coach O'Neill love about the game. And certainly he coaches it and gets to see it with his guys on a regular, because I've seen some of his teams make those type of runs, and it's fun to watch, man. It's exciting.
Y'all got me, Coach O'Neill. I am fully engrossed in learning about this sport that I did not know about before. Tell us, Coach O'Neill. I mean, you prepped us last week. What channels are we going to see this on this week?
So they'll be back on the U, this weekend. So they're regional now. I think one is in Long Island and one's in South Bend, Indiana. You'll have some great games, some great matchups, as you mentioned, and it all leads up to the Final Four, where Final Four weekend is 3 days, three championships. You'll have the Final Four of the Division I, the men's. You'll have that'll be Saturday. Sunday, you'll have the Division II and Division III national champions in the same big NFL stadium. Although this year it's not in Foxborough; it's in a stadium close by. I think it's in Hartford, Connecticut. And then Monday, you have the NCAA Men's Division I championship on Memorial Day. So perfect for barbecues, cookouts, and to watch that. I mean, this is the epitome. This is what these little scoopers and these little kids in the Tiger leagues are playing for. The parents, because again, we've mentioned it. The PLL is new. The MLL has been around in other box leagues, but this is what people want. This is what they're striving for. My young man having an opportunity to play college lacrosse at the highest level. And I'd be remiss to not mention the young ladies that are having an incredible tournament themselves, and that leads up. So ESPNU, the only Eagle left right now is with the North Carolina Tar Heels. His name's PJ Zinsner. So personally, I'm pulling for the Tar Heels, and I think they will win all the way and hang another national championship banner.
Casey, what about your Division II and III guys? How do they fit?
Well, dare I mention the NESCAC, Kurtis?
The NESCAC is back, baby. It's been like 10 episodes since we mentioned it, but the NESCAC, talk about it, baby.
So my boy Kurt Brune, who's with the Tufts Jumbos, who's been they're about 3 or 4 time national champion. That might be the hardest tournament to win. In normal years, there's 60 some teams that advance to that thing. And it's insane. This year, they only did 30. So Tufts is now, I believe, in the final 16 or final 8. Kurt is getting minutes. They're playing back-to-back games. So if you advance on a Saturday, you got to go play somebody on a Sunday because they're squeezing in all the teams.
Right.
We have that young man. I think Salisbury, as usual, we have a goalie there named Matt Mack, who actually played with my son Cole at Furman. They shut down. He goes to Salisbury. And we got another young man at Colorado College named George Schlesinger. They're advanced to the final 8. And one more boy in the D2, Gary Pierpont, Wingate. Wingate Dogs are heading to the Elite 8 as well in Division 2. So shameless plug.
Are you you're like Joey is to NFL? You're a savant for this stuff, aren't you?
Just check it out. You find the D2, D3, and especially the women's game, which is, unbelievable as well.
Be sure to catch all the action this weekend. DJ Krissy, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe.
This segment of Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by the Tamara Cusick Team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people too. The Tamara Cusick Team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick Team isn't just a partner, they sold us the home where Take a T.O. broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamaraforhomes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301-780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill.
All right, so the first thing we have to do is we have to recognize something. How much time is in the game that you're watching? Because you got the goal like 90 seconds before we did.
I was jumping up and down, and I'm spinning around and looking at the screen, and you guys are ho-humming, checking your notes and looking down. And my man Garnet Hathaway just stuck one, roofed it over Tuukka Rask. And then I'm like, what are you guys doing over there?
I'm telling Krissy, I'm like, they must have scored or something, but we're behind. I'm like, well, we're not that far behind. It was a good 90 seconds before we saw that goal.
Yeah, it was nice, and it timed up perfectly so I could turn around, check out, see what's going on, and then Dmitry Orlov.
They're waiting on you.
Out there. We are Washington Capitals through and through on this team here. Can't say the same. And Washington football. Can't say the same for NBA. We know the love for your Lakers, right? And baseball, your Mets. But we're a Caps family.
First place Mets, sir.
Yeah, well, first place sitting in COVID protocol right now. So
like 18 and 16 is first place.
They're gonna be playing triple headers in June, man. Catch up.
Playing Lakers.
4-inning triple headers.
Wow. Listen, folks, thanks for listening and watching as we enjoy meeting you here each week. Gentlemen, let's get into the two major sports which are now in postseason. The NHL is in the playoffs as we speak. Caps are up 3-2, and the NBA playoffs are just a couple of days away from win or go home status. Coach Turner, give us your outlook on the upcoming NBA playoffs.
Man, it's
fantastic.
It's up for grabs.
Yeah, it is.
I can't tell you who's the odds-on favorite. I mean, I can talk about who I like. Interesting matchups. I'm excited to watch the Milwaukee and Miami matchup. I think that's going to be a fun series.
I don't think Milwaukee makes it out.
But I know we got some play-in stuff to deal with.
Yes, we do.
Lakers, Golden State. Is the NBA pissed off or what?
They want to see them further down. Yes, they are.
A lot of potential money lost right there.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out. Happy to see the Wiz, man. Get a chance to do their thing.
Absolutely.
I think they can win that game.
Yeah.
I personally believe they can win that game. So
if Beal is healthy and Jaylen Brown's not playing, right?
Yep. And Russ keep doing what he's doing. Wow. So I'm excited for that. I don't know who to go with.
Right.
I think healthy, and I know we talked all defense about the defense stuff this year, but I think healthy and can keep Kyrie sane for a few weeks. Brooklyn right now has to be the favorite, in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
But I think anything can happen in these series. This is going to be more interesting than the bubble, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because where we think people should be, they're not. And we don't know who's playing on what nights and who might opt out because they're upset with the world. So who knows what's going to happen,
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think no matter who wins that Boston Washington series. Brooklyn is not going to have any problems moving on. I think Milwaukee does not get past Miami. I think the most interesting matchup in the East is the Knicks and Atlanta. Good Lord, that's going to be a good series. I am not a big Tom Thibodeau fan, but he has done a lot of great stuff with that Knicks team. They've got seats going for $1,000 a pop. Knicks haven't been there in 8-9 years. On the West, Utah is Utah. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. Clippers, Dallas. I'm not sold on the Clippers. Denver, Portland. Don't think Portland gets past them. Phoenix is going to see Lakers or Golden. Well, Lakers, if they win one, they go to play Phoenix. Then Golden State goes into losers bracket and they get to see Utah. So either Golden State, San Antonio, or Memphis is probably going to see Utah. Obviously, I favor my Lakers when healthy. They've won 5 in a row now. Everyone is back. I mean, you're seeing alley-oops. You're seeing Kuzma throw it off the glass to himself. They're having fun again now that everyone's healthy. Can everyone stay healthy is the question over there. But Steve, as much as I love my Lakers, I can't say it's a clear-cut favorite. I'm not going to, follow them, or I'm not going to say they're going to win just because they're my team. I think the Knicks are dangerous. I don't think they're going to get to the finals.
I don't think the Knicks are good enough to go all the way and win it all. But I do believe, and I'm going to give you Lakers love, if they get through and can knock off one of the two that they're going to have to go through to get into the big part of the dance, right? And that's Utah or Phoenix. That they then turn back into the odds-on favorite in the West.
Right. Coach O'Neal, between Bradley Beal and Mr. Westbrook, the Wizards went from 17-32 just over a month ago to an improbable 17-6 record down the stretch, and they are now worth talking about. Do they have enough in the tank to get past the Celtics? I think yes. Talk to me about and if Westbrook had played this way, and I'm not complaining, if he had played at this pace, there's no reason why he wouldn't have been the MVP. But talk to me about those Wizards.
So look, back you mentioned that record. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm like playing game. Let's get some lottery, picks here. Like what are we even talking about? And then now watching, we've said this before. I don't think there's any argument over the John Wall trade whatsoever. I mean, what we're getting night in and night out out of Russell Westbrook. And I'll put up with the turnovers. I'll put up with him doing some stupid, what on the court at times with handling the ball. But to do what he's doing and to compete at the level he competes at is amazing to watch. I'm a little concerned about Bradley Beal and that hamstring. Look, if you had told me we'd have somebody break the triple-double scoring record of all time in a Washington uniform, along with another of his teammates competing with Steph Curry for the scoring title, and then to have some fun, crazy, wacky basketball games where they're coming down to the wire. They're down by 12 or 15 to Charlotte yesterday.
Yeah,
they're coming back and taking the lead.
Sure did.
And there's parts like Raul Neto, Ish Smith had like a double-double last night. Yep. I mean, they're just finding ways. The key with the Wizards is, yes, I think they can beat Boston in one game and get that 7 seed. And then if they lose, they've got to play the other bracket and then figure out. Either way, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I want to see what Tommy Shepard, former guest of the podcast, by the way.
We got guests everywhere coming back, right?
I mean, right? Former guest coming back and see what he does in this offseason. It's going to be tough for the Wizards to hold it that long, but they're fun as hell to watch. And that's all we want because we've been there, done that, watching them lose and not advance. And this is some fun stuff to watch with the Wizards.
Let's talk about this right here. Coach O'Neal, turn around and tell me how much time is in your game, and I'll tell you how much time is in our game so you can tell me how far ahead you are.
We are third period, caps up 3-2 with 8:40 left in the final frame.
Okay, you know what? I fast-forwarded, so we must have caught up. We must have been behind because we're at 8:40, and they just went to a commercial or some Dunkin' Donuts thing. All right, so we're good to go. All right, Coach O'Neal, I'll start with you. Who comes out of the East?
Oh, baby. I don't know if it's going to be – personally, I think Milwaukee. That's kind of I'm rooting for. I think it's their time. I felt like in the bubble last year, things were messed up. I think that group is too talented. I'd love to see somebody different, but Brooklyn's starting to heat up a little bit. They made probably the play of the year the other night. You know what I'm talking about? When who was it that threw it behind his head?
Blake Griffin.
Off the glass. Blake Griffin behind his back. It was a pretty cool little play. I'm gonna go with Milwaukee.
Anthony, Edwards dunking on Utah Watanabe is the play of the year. Okay, we all saw that dunk.
That's true.
I got Philly coming out. Who you got coming out of the East, Coach Turner?
I'm going with KD, baby.
Okay.
I'm rocking with KD.
I just think Philly's better coach.
He said, we are not the big three. We are 15.
Say what? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said he told the people they are not the big three. They are 15.
I love to hear that. I love the coaching in Philly. I'm a Doc Rivers fan, obviously. And I think they have the edge there. Who's coming out of the West, Coach Turner? Putting you on the spot.
It's tough to say. But I'm a rock with LeBron. It's what I want to see anyway. So I'm rocking with LeBron and the Lakers.
I'm rocking with LeBron. You know me, Coach O'Neal. If you're gonna make it 3 for 3, can you rock with LeBron?
I can, but I think it's going to be somebody different. It's going to be somebody that the networks look. If I'm saying the Milwaukee Bucks, and then it's somebody like the Phoenix Suns or the Denver Nuggets, they're going to say, "Well, we got to cut the budget next year because nobody's watching this."
There's our ratings.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Denver Nuggets, man. Nuggets.
Okay, gonna go with the Nuggets. Talk to me about some NHL. Here in DC, the Caps took game 1 against Boston, and we're in a 3-2 game right now. Coach O'Neal, talk to me.
So, look, NHL, outside of just focusing on our Caps, just kind of looking around. Obviously, Vegas is having an incredible season. They lost their first game. I believe it was an upset in overtime to the Minnesota Wild. So, look, coming out of the typical Eastern area, you had the Islanders beat the Penguins in the first game in overtime. That would be a big upset if they could pull it off. And again, 7-game series, anything can happen. You know what Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and those, rival Penguins could do. But it'd be nice for the Caps to advance and to be able to play somebody like the Islanders and Barry Trotz, their old coach again. I think the Hurricanes are having a great year. And then there's what people forget down in Florida, the defending champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning are down 0-1 to the Florida Panthers of all teams. They could be one of the best teams out of the East. Outside of that, you're looking at Edmonton, Colorado, St. Louis. My guess, I'm still sticking with Vegas advancing. And, look, just like lacrosse or just like other sports you're not, maybe used to watching, or whether it's like Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL hockey playoffs is like penalty boxes filled. There's hits. There's just things going on. It's fast-paced. It's so fun.
The lights are brighter. The action is faster. The hits are harder. That's one thing I have noticed about NHL hockey. Listen, we're coming right back with our weekly sports wrap-up. DJ Krissy, let's do it. O'Neal Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neal Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neal Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neal Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'nealdev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neal. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Become a Friend. At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
This segment of Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neal is sponsored by Insurance Alliance Group. Manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill.
I'm going to go off script for a minute. I meant to send this to you guys and I didn't. So check this out. You know, with FanDuel, you can bet on who's going to score the first touchdown, who's going to make the first pass. Is, you know, Marshawn Lynch going to have 2 runs, then a pass or a catch, blah, blah. So this guy bet $500, okay? He bet a parlay of the Cleveland Cavs at the Washington Wizards. Alex Len would score the first basket. Denver Nuggets at Detroit Pistons. Nikola Jokic would score the first basket. And then the Jazz at OKC. Joe Ingles would score the first basket. He put down 500. 31,260 were the odds. This Bama on a $500 bet made $157,000. Because he bet first basket correct. And who's betting on the Jazz at OKC? Who's making the first basket?
That's crazy.
Yes.
And Alex Len?
That guy.
Alex Len, yes.
Good for him. He should have won more. He should have won more than that for that bet.
It was a 31,260 to 1 bet. And he won on that bad boy. Anyway, let's get back here. We're gonna make this short and sweet on this one, guys. NBA end of year honors. We want to thank people like Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. They are always our premier sponsor. So this is our sports weekly wrap up brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Gentlemen, Coach O'Neill, I know you're not as much into the NBA as we are, but I want to hear from you as well. Gentlemen, most improved NBA. Coach O'Neill, you're up.
Most improved. Wow, that put me on the spot here. I don't know if he's most improved, and we've talked about him for maybe, MVP honors, but I mean, what Chris Paul has done, and that warrants MVP stuff, but most improved. It's not like his game ever diminished,
right?
But he's playing at a ridiculous level. So I'm just going to put him out there for that right there.
All right, Coach Turner, most improved.
And I may change that because I think there's a couple Sixers too that have come back and made some plays, and Zion Williamson as well is another guy. So,
right.
I don't think he'll get the award.
Okay.
But I have to say he should be in the talks.
Mm-hmm.
Is Zoe Ball.
Right. Okay. I like that. I didn't think of him.
I think he's made some improvements in his game, especially his jump shot.
Absolutely.
I see him coming back to the form that I thought he would be at in the league at this time, where we saw him as a high school player.
Okay.
I don't know that he's the guy that deserves the award, but I think he definitely should be in the talks of it. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that one this season.
Right.
I'll take that back. The obvious, Julius Randle.
Yes, thank you. There's my answer too. Julius Randle. He's got to be most improved.
Julius Randle. He reinvented himself.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a monster. He can hit the three. So he's stretching the floor. That's the big part of his game. And there's no quit. He's hustling every play. And maybe it took Tibbs to get that out of him. So we started that way. We're going to come back to me and go the other way. Coach of the Year, Monty Williams. Coach Turner. That's my vote.
Monty Williams?
Absolutely, 100%.
I might go with Tibbs.
Okay, you know what? A very close second in my book, but yes.
That was my vote. Same vote.
Now, certainly for me, Monty being a DMV guy, I will rock with him. But
him or was he Oxon Hill? Where was he?
Potomac.
Yeah, Potomac, yeah.
Him or Tibbs, one of those two would be my votes. Either one. If either one got it, I'd be fine.
Tibbs.
All right.
Next, I didn't even have in the top 8 or 10 to begin the season. To be
I'm number 4.
I was happy to see Spike running around, excited and jumping, looking crazy again.
There you go. All right. I know some of these you guys might not think about, or Coach O'Neill you might not think about, but Defensive Player of the Year. I got to go back. Well, it's not my turn. Coach O'Neill.
So I did a little cheat sheet as well, but I believe that my man from the Jazz.
Yeah, he's got
Rudy.
it again. Yeah, Rudy gets it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
mean, just no brainer.
Coach Turner.
You said for which one again? I'm sorry.
Defensive player of the year.
Player of the year.
And who'd you say, Case?
Rudy Gobert.
I'm going Rudy as well. I don't care for him, but I'm going Rudy. And by the way, you know the joke from last year is he has to be defensive player of the year because he shut the whole NBA down last year, didn't he?
Oh no.
With the COVID.
What happened? You got a goal against?
Yep. There was no defensive player of the year on that one. So
you're still ahead of us because I got 3 minutes left and it's still 3-2 Washington.
Well, it's about to be tied.
Oh, Lord.
But I think they're going to go to videotape.
I think you're probably both right with Rudy.
Okay. All right. So coming back to me, now this one I should not be going first because Coach O'Neal probably doesn't have this answer, so he might piggyback mine. Sixth man of the year, hands down, Jordan Clarkson, former Laker. Anybody got anything else to say?
Come on, man. I don't have one.
All right. Daggone it. I don't want either one of these to be next, but one of them's got to be next. Rookie of the year.
You thinking Ball?
I was thinking Ball, but he had the injury, so he might lose out to Edwards because of that.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Anthony Edwards. He dunked over Utah Watson.
And he's just been consistent. I mean, he's been pretty consistent.
Since the All-Star game, he's at like 24 points per game.
But I do believe if Ball didn't get hurt, he probably would have got it. Yeah,
no, I think you're correct. I think if Embiid doesn't get hurt, he gets it. But I'm going MVP Jokic, you know?
Agreed.
The Joker, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
Agreed.
And I love what CP3 has done this year, but man, give me the Joker all day.
Right. So there you go. What do you know about the NHL, Coach O'Neal? You know, it's not something I watch that much. Tell me, guys, who should be taking away some hardware besides Lord Stanley's Cup.
Look, I think it comes down to the young man, Connor McDavid, up there in Edmonton. Obviously, we don't hear about him or see him being up there in the great Northwest. But this young man and he's got a teammate as well, and I'm blanking on the name, but that's the guy. You know, I mean, I think he's the next one up. You talk about Crosby and Ovechkin and those old school guys who are still doing it at the highest level. I mean, Ovechkin's been out for 2 or 3 weeks, and he comes in and he's some guys at a crazy rate. But this kid, Connor McDavid, is unbelievable. So he's got to be your MVP at some point with what he's doing up there, and is probably NHL's most brightest young star.
Okay. All right. Thank you for schooling us to that. We'll see. You know, the NBA does that whole dramatic thing where one night they give out one award, then the next night they give out another award, and the next night it goes all through the 60 million days of playoffs. But it is win or go home starting Wednesday. The Wizards are playing a 6:00 game, I think, that night, 6 or 6:30. They're playing the Celtics in their playing game. But hey, gentlemen, that's our end of the year honors. We'll see. We'll come back to the tape to see who's right, who's wrong. I'm going Randall, Monty Williams, Rudy Gobert, Jordan Clarkson, Anthony Edwards, and Jokic. DJ Krissy. Let's hear from our advertisers. We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neal would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neal Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness.
The final word is brought to you by
This segment of Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neal is sponsored by
Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a T&O with Turner and O'Neal.
Kevin Pillar leaves in the 7th inning versus the Braves after being hit in the face by a pitch. Damn, that had to hurt. All right. We are back, and now it's time for our final words. Some thanks, and of course, our weekly quote this week offered by Coach Casey O'Neill. Gentlemen, I'm going to present something to you this week that we're going to present to our advertisers. Our season 3 media kit is like almost ready. So listen, folks, you want to come out, you want to support us, you want to get your name out there, you want to build your brand. Season 3 advertising opportunities will open as soon as next week. We love all the sponsors we have. We love all the donors. We love the partners. We love our premier partner. Of course, they will get the first right of refusal to return for season 3, but there may be some spots open. We want you to get in on episode drop sponsorships. We want you to get in on segment sponsorships, social media inclusion, all of that stuff we do. Listen, last season we hit 100,000 views and listens. I have no doubt we've had as many as like 9 or 10,000 views and listens in 1 week in season 2. So I'm confident we'll get to that 100,000 number again. So look, if you want to advertise for as little as $20-25 an episode, come talk to us. Talk to DJ Krissy. Email us at turneroneilpodcast@gmail.com. We will get you into our portfolio, into our, what would I say, into our wealth of advertising. We want you here. We want you to become a friend of the program for as little as $25. You can become a friend of the program. Your name will go up on our website. Your name will be mentioned each episode. Now, connect with us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and via all podcast platforms to get the episode drop alerts. That means when we release an episode, you'll get a ding to your device. You will be among the first to know when new episodes are available. We encourage you to join the conversation, so write to us with your questions and comments at turneroneilpodcast@gmail.com. Before we sign off, many thanks to our listeners and viewers. We want you to spread the word, so do us a favor. Hey, gentlemen, in the last week, we've gone up like 30 or 40 subscribers. We were at like 140 something. Now we're almost at 190. So you guys do your job. Thank you for doing that and telling people to subscribe. I know I'm telling people to subscribe. So let's hit 200 in the next week, guys. I must also thank DJ Krissy, our engineer, you two gentlemen, and of course, Paula. Thanks to our donors, sponsors, and partners, we encourage our audience to support those who support us. Krissy, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm excited for our Mental Health Monday.
All right.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys. Excited to, I'm going to say cicadas again.
All right. No, nothing wrong. If that's what matters to you, that's all right.
This week is going to be fun.
Oh, my goodness.
Krissy, how long do they stick around for? Do you know the answer? Is it a month, 2 months?
Not even that long. I think it's just a couple weeks.
Okay. Well, a couple weeks is a month, right? 4 weeks. So
What kind of, you didn't do well in math class, did you?
A couple, like 2. Maybe 3.
I thought it was 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's that long. They don't have a very long lifespan.
Good.
No, they don't.
Well, above ground.
17 years, baby.
So, like, what makes you go in a dark place for 17 years and then come out for 2 or 3 weeks? And then what, do they die or they go back?
They die.
They die.
Yeah.
They die. They get eaten up by the birds.
Okay. All right. I mean, I've been around for 2 cycles of them, but last time look, Steve, I remember waiting at the bus stop on Wayne Avenue for the number 12 bus and all the damn cicadas spring of 86 or whatever it was. So right at Blair High School. And then my damn roommate, Keenan, left the light on in front of the house that I live in, and I had to go in through the back door that night because all the cicadas were all over the front. So we're going to watch that this time. End of regulation, 3-3 Boston, Washington. It is sudden victory, is it not, Coach O'Neill?
It is. You're still 90 seconds. They're already in the dressing room, man. They're drinking their Gatorade and eating their snacks right now.
They were just walking back right now on my screen.
Yep. You got a delay.
All right. So, Coach Turner, talk to me about how you're feeling after this week. I know you got something exciting tomorrow, so good luck with Summer League trials tomorrow. But talk to me before we wrap this thing up.
Oh, man, just another great episode with you guys. Excited to talk a little bit of local happenings and Coach O'Neill and the lacrosse program still rocking and rolling in the spring here. Glad these guys were able to get a season in, and now we got some playoffs happening in the professional sports. Yeah. And I was surprised we did not talk about the HOF, the Hall of Fame.
You know what? And I certainly meant to write that in. Very happy to see Kevin Garnett get in.
That's my guy. Like, arguably one of my top 5 all-time favorite players. So I was happy to see him get in. And then to hear some of the names coming in potentially for next year.
Weber.
I am putting my pitch because I missed him. Rasheed Wallace deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right, he does.
I agree.
Absolutely, he does. Was happy to see Mulkey. Of course, happy to see Vanessa talk about Kobe. She almost got me. She almost got me choked up when she said, "Dear Kobe." I'm like, oh my goodness, don't do this to me.
She handled that thing with class.
Yeah, she did.
And definitely hats off to her.
Beautiful purple dress. Glad to see Jordan up there. I love she gave the nod to Jordan because she said she looked over at Jordan and said he wanted to be like you or whatever. And she said that, he thought like you in terms of, why can't you take a night off? Because we're going to have to get to that next week. I totally flubbed on that in. So we'll talk about that next week. I'll make sure I write that in next week. That'll be our one headline. So folks, there'll be no surprises.
I'll give you one more thing before we go.
Please.
And happy to see Jalen Rose and Chris Webber make up. Long overdue.
All right. Coach O'Neal, your final thoughts, and then give us your quote, fella.
Final thoughts. Well, coming down the wire here in my season, it hasn't been what we've normally expected, but kudos to my T&O fam for adjusting at times and for all of us being busy, you calling games, Steve getting back onto the court. I've got, 3 to 4 or 5 games left and coaching the heck out of my kids, whether it's in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, having Krissy make us all look good every week.
Oh, by the way, and Chrissy's back DJing proms. Prom season is here again.
They're here.
Yes.
And, I cross my fingers and hope and pray when these boys and girls go out there, they're making good decisions because sometimes we have practice the next day. So let's, make sure these proms we're making the right decisions. But great episode. I love talking a little bit of college lacrosse and some hoops and football and hockey and baseball, all those things. So I'm ready for the quote. If you guys are ready.
I'm ready. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right. Here we go.
Get it, man.
You can't make people listen to you. You can't make them execute. That might be a temporary solution for a simple task, but to implement real change, to drive people to accomplish something truly complex or difficult or even dangerous, you can't make people do those things. You have to lead them. That is Navy SEAL Jocko Willink. Good.
DJ Krissy, pull the plug.
Take a T&O with Turner & O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a T&O with Turner & O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a T&O with Turner & O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a T&O with Turner & O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner & O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.